George Washington got a bunch of them together and said, we really need to look at redoing the Articles of Confederation, which led to the Constitutional Convention in 1787, where they did get together and they said, let's redo the Articles of Confederation. They looked at that and said, let's just scrap it and start again. And that's where we come up with the Constitution. When you look at the founders' idea for the nation, it was that the people would be in charge through a representative federal government. And out of the forms of government, the Founding Fathers went through and said democracy is worse than anything. It's worse than anarchy. Democracy is worse than a monarchy. And we know what they thought about monarchies. I mean, democracy was on the bottom of the rung because it allowed human motions to get through. People make decisions when they're angry or when they're happy or when they don't have all the facts. So in a representative Republican form of government, everything slows down. And we complain about the pace of government, but that's really good because now you have to debate, you have to get two sides in there, you have to look at all the aspects, you have hearings on it to get all the information. It's a slow process, but it keeps the feelings and emotions out. But they wanted the people to have the power. The Constitution forbids America from becoming a democracy, and a federal government means that we share powers in a vertical direction. Thomas Jefferson, in his first inaugural address, he went through his president and said, the purpose of federal government is fivefold. And in his inaugural address, he listed the 5 things that the government was supposed to do. He said, number 1 is to acknowledge and adore God. And it's interesting, Jefferson said that, but they all believed that if you don't start with acknowledgement of God, you don't understand inalienable rights. Second thing is for government to exercise frugality. Frugality in spending and power and authority. Be a frugal government. He said third is to restrain the infliction of injury. Government exists to keep bad guys under control. It's not to regulate the good guys. It's to keep the bad guys from hurting somebody. He said the fourth thing government's supposed to do is to encourage entrepreneurship and free enterprise. Is to be business friendly and encourage, because that's where prosperity comes from. That's where jobs come from. He said the fifth thing government's to do is to protect property and the earnings of citizens. They considered the money you earned as your property, and they couldn't take your money away from you any more than they could take your house or your property or anything else away. And he said that's the fivefold purpose of government. Government exists for those 5 reasons. We've shifted so much away from what they envisioned, which was a small, limited government with 5 primary responsibilities, where that we, the people, were in charge of all 3 branches. That's what they wanted for America. And if we read and study the Constitution and get back to that plan, that's what's caused America to be the most prosperous, stable nation in the history of the world.
So why have we